It finally happened. Hey, this is Struzyna with the Gunderman Group at Keller Williams Luxury International. Welcome back to the channel. If you're here, you want to learn tips, tricks, ideas, anything you can do to help you succeed in the East Bay real estate market. And that is what we do here on this channel. So go ahead and subscribe, like the video, because I know you're gonna get some value out of this one. Today we're talking about Alameda, city where I live, where I do a lot of business. I've done a ton of videos on Alameda. I'll link to them up here if you want to learn more about the city itself. But one thing that just happened recently, unprecedented news here, was that a home in the Gold Coast, it was gorgeous, sold for $4.75 million. That's insane. Why is that so insane? Because the previous sales record on a home that was much larger, with a larger lot, better upgrades, and more of a historic, prestigious architect, that's the kind of home you would expect to see sell for something like this, was 3.6. So this eclipsed that by over $1 million. And it was absolutely fascinating to me because I had someone who wrote an offer on it, wasn't even close to the fours. We weren't even in the bidding because that just exceeded everybody's expectation by a ton of money. But what can we learn from this? What does this mean about the future of our market? Well, I've done a lot of videos, a lot of market updates. I'll link to some of those up here where I've talked about what I'm seeing. Is the market flattening? Is it going down? Are we going back to a more even buyer-seller balance of power sort of thing? And what I've been saying is the best houses are always selling for the most money and they're always getting the best buyer pool and the most buyers in the end. This is a great example. I think they had a total of 9 offers, including one that I wrote. And ultimately there was a couple offers at the top that just bid it up because they had to have it. But it was a really special property, built in 2002 on a double lot, really well laid out. Basically nothing wrong with it, had some really wonderful upgrades, although nothing that one would call perfect for the modern aesthetic of what's kind of popular and in right now, but an absolutely stunning, gorgeous home that someone could just paint a few things, change some countertops, some really basic upgrades, and you could make it exactly what you wanted. The bones of it were good. The layout was good is what I'm trying to say, right? And so as a result, it attracted a ton of attention and it obviously pulled people's emotions in. And that is ultimately what happened here is people are, again, starting to value their homes differently, the space that they work, they live, they spend time in, they raise family and they make memories in. That is having a ton of value. That coupled with a huge bump in wealth through cryptocurrency, through stocks, through all of the sort of things that I've talked about on all these market updates are coming to fruition on this particular property. Now, doesn't that mean though that because they overpaid the previous sale by over $1 million that they seriously overpaid? Well, when you look at it from a perspective of overpaying, there's a couple of ways you can look at it, obviously. This one closed really fast. It was like 10-day close, so I can only imagine it was a cash offer for the purchase of the home. So when you look at it, it closed at basically $1,000 a square foot, which is completely unheard of, even in Piedmont and Berkeley and Orinda and those kinds of places. $1,000 a square foot is it's just wild, especially for something this size. You would expect something to sell at $1,000 a square foot at 1,000, 11, 1,200 square feet, something like that, especially in the East End, which I did that video a couple weeks back on what $1 million buys you in Alameda. I'll link to that up here, but not something that's 4,800 square feet. So from that perspective, one could argue that they overpaid. But when you look at what the house actually got you, the caliber of the neighborhood, the caliber of the property, the way it was laid out, the way you could live in it over time. It had an ensuite down below on the main level just off the kitchen, so someone could move down there and age in place kind of thing, or you could move family members in, or you could have an au pair, or what it afforded a lifestyle is what I'm trying to say, and it afforded longevity in the property. Not to mention, there were no repairs needed to be done. The place was built very, very recently in 2002, relative to some of the 1908 or 1889 homes that typically sell, that are the big, beautiful homes in the Gold Coast or many parts of Alameda. And it really garnered a ton of attention, clearly. So what is this saying about the buyer pool? What they value is the layout, the newness, the move-in ready nature of it, and ultimately what it does for them. Like on a dollar per square foot basis, you could call it an overpay. But what the property gave to them, that's a personal value that a lot of people make. And that's a distinction relative to especially the luxury price points. What does this property do for me beyond the X's and O's, the dollars and cents? It's not just 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, but it's memories. Loving where I live, the street I'm on, the facade of the house, the drive up, the walk up, whatever it is, and the emotion that you get. And generally speaking, when you start to get into those upper price points, that's the value that people place on it. So as a market is concerned, when you start to see those really, really special properties, this is the kind of thing that you're engaging with. This is why people are quote unquote overpaying, because to them, it's just worth more. And so they're willing to throw extra money at it. Now, that is ultimately what raises the price around you, because we sell and justify our prices based on recent sales and comps. And so now this is going to be a comp for all these really large homes. Whether or not they'll achieve a similar outcome will be very interesting, very subjective relative to the buyer pool that's looking at that moment, but it does set a precedent, and it does give a great example to this anecdote I've been saying for many weeks about the best homes fetching the best prices. So in conclusion, I'm not ready to call it a trend yet. I'm not ready to say that everything in the Gold Coast is gonna sell for $1,000 a square foot, but it is a new data point. It is rare air. It is uncharted territory. We've never seen this before. And now here we are. So as we go into the next iteration of the market, probably in the early spring, February, March, April, etc., we're going to probably see some other records come up as a result of this, assuming the economic and financial situation locally and globally stays the same or keeps improving. I think you could probably safely say that you will see a few more of these anomalies, because now you're not the first one over the fence, if you will. So as you can see, this is a rarefied air. Is this an anomaly? Is this a new trend? Hard to say. Definitely people are paying the most for the best houses still. That's the trend. But what will that mean for the future of Alameda sales and other neighboring neighborhoods in Oakland and Berkeley? Will this set a new precedent? Will this bring Piedmont buyers into Alameda and change the Piedmont market all of a sudden? Hard to say. That's a trend we're gonna have to watch on, and I will report back when I have something to say about it. So without any further ado, thanks for tuning in. This is Struzyna with the Gunderman Group at Keller Williams Luxury International, signing off for now. See you on the next one.